Welcome to day 157 of 66 and 26. We're back in the Old Testament book of Psalms today. It's Wednesday, it's Wisdom Wednesday. We're looking at the wisdom literature of the Old Testament. That includes Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, or Song of Songs. And today we're in the book of Psalms 61 through 65. These are relatively short Psalms, 8-12 verses thereabout. All of them relatively short and all really kind of focusing on God as our refuge, our protection, whether that's protection and salvation from our own sin, from our enemies, being a fortress for us. I want to look at Psalm 62 as a typical psalm in this section. All the rest of them are very similar, but the message of this, I just want to look at Psalm 62, a few verses here. First of all, I want you to notice in Psalms that almost always in the Psalms, you're getting what are known as couplets in verses. So verse 1, my soul finds rest in God alone. My salvation comes from him. Two different halves or couplets that are joined together as one verse. He alone is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will never be shaken. Verse 2. And so almost always in the Psalms, you're getting that kind of a rhythm, and it's known as parallelism. There are two halves of a verse that are in parallel with each other. Sometimes it's saying almost the exact same thing in different wording. And so you can, it's sort of a poetic way of expressing in two different ways. Sometimes the second half of that verse builds on the one before. And we see examples of that in this psalm as well. A couple things to highlight here. The psalmist, David, most likely in this case, it says a Psalm of David at the very top, compares himself with God as refuge. So God is a rock. He alone, he says, is my rock, verse 2, and my salvation. He is my fortress, and that all the rock and the fortress always give this idea that it's unmovable, unshakable, and will stand fast against any attack. He compares and contrasts that with himself, verse 3, when he's talking about those who would assault him. So how long will you assault a man as a way of saying, now, will you never give up? Will you never stop attacking? And then he goes on to say, would all of you throw him down this leaning wall, this tottering fence? So where David himself is weak and a leaning wall, a tottering fence, God is a refuge and a rock. Where we are weak and unable to go up to the lofty places, David is asking God to elevate us and to help us to find him as the one rock of our salvation, the fortress that will never be shaken, as in verse 6. And then verse 9, low-born men are but a breath. So that's talking about the poor and the weak. The high-born are but a lie. They might seem like they're sturdy and unshakable, but that's just that's a lie. It's an illusion, if you will, because in the end, low-born or high-born, we're all the same. If weighed on a balance, they are nothing. Any of them, low-born or high-born, those who are rich, those who are poor, those who are strong, those who are weak, and those who are powerful, those who are not in power. In balance, they're all the same, and we really are nothing apart from God. Together, they're only a breath, right? Just a vapor. But God is the one unshakable, and so we look to him. And so all through the Psalms, we get this kind of thought of leaning into God, not in our own strength. And it really is a lesson for us that we all should take. We should all lean into God as our salvation and not leaning on ourselves. This is the consistent message of the Bible, and we certainly see it in these Psalms today.